Prime. Federal government declares Thursday and Friday public holidays to mark celebration of Eid al-Fitr. In business, federal government to relieve tariff for media companies. On the foreign scene, President Bola Tinubu arrives in United Kingdom for a 2-day state visit. And in sports tonight, FIFA to relocate Iran's World Cup matches from the United States to Mexico due to the conflict in the Middle East. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I'm Wuyi Agmofwe, reminding our viewers that we are on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times on channel 276. Tonight, we begin by telling you the federal government has declared Thursday, March 19 and Friday, March 20, 2026 as public holidays to mark the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, which signifies the end of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. The declaration was made by Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo on behalf of the federal government. In a statement, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Magdalene Ajani, said the minister extended warm greetings and heartfelt congratulations to Muslim faithful on the successful completion of the fasting period. Tunji-Ojo urged Muslims to sustain the virtues of love, generosity, peace, tolerance, and sacrifice, which were emphasized during the holy month of Ramadan. On a side note now, at least 23 persons have been confirmed dead and more than 100 others injured following multiple explosions that rocked Maiduguri, Borno State's capital. Authorities say the blast, suspected to be coordinated suicide attacks, targeted crowded locations within the city. Kikelomo Okere has details.
The explosion occurred at about 7:24 p.m. Monday evening at major public locations, including Maiduguri Monday Market, the gate of University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, and Post Office flyover. Eyewitnesses says the blast caused panic as residents and traders ran for safety, while emergency responders rushed to the scene. The Borno State Police Command confirmed that 23 people lost their lives, while 108 others sustained varying degrees of injuries. Police spokesperson Nahum Kenneth Daso says preliminary investigation indicates that the explosions were carried out by suspected suicide bomber using improvised explosive device. Security agencies, including police tactical team and military personnel, were immediately deployed to secure the affected area and prevent further attacks. The explosive ordnance disposal unit also conducted sweep operation to ensure no additional explosive devices were left behind. While emergency response team from the National Emergency Management Agency and the Borno State Emergency Management Agency have evacuated victims to hospitals where they are receiving treatment. Authorities says investigations are ongoing as securities have been intensified across Maiduguri. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
Thank you so very much, Kikelomo. President Bola Tinubu has directed Nigeria's security chiefs to relocate to Maiduguri, capital of Borno State, to take charge of the security situation following recent terrorist attacks in the area. In a statement issued in Abuja, the president, who described the latest developments in the northeast city as deeply troubling, expressed his condolences to families of those who lost their lives, sympathized with the injured, and assured residents of the states of the federal government support during this difficult period. The president also vowed that his administration would intensify efforts to confront criminal groups operating across the country. Meanwhile, the Nigerian army has raised alarm over possible deployment of multiple suicide bombers into Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State, by suspected Boko Haram terrorists. In a statement issued today, the Media Information Officer, Northeast Joint Task Force Operation Hiding K, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, said the attacks targeted crowded public areas in an attempt by the terrorists to inflict mass casualties and create panic within the metropolis. The alarm follows a suicide bombing incident that occurred on Monday evening, where 23 people lost their lives and 108 people sustained injuries. Uba urged residents to avoid crowded places. The Benue State government has signed a memorandum of understanding worth about 600 billion naira for the establishment of an integrated agro-industrial estate aimed at boosting agricultural development and economic growth in the state. Governor Hyacinth Alia signed the agreement with the Benue Agro team at the government house in Makurdi. Felicity Indere was there for Global Television.
The Benue State government has taken a significant step towards strengthening agricultural development with the signing of a 600 billion naira memorandum of understanding for the establishment of integrated agro-industrial estate. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Governor Hyacinth Alia said the project is expected to drive agricultural transformation, create employment opportunities for youth, and stimulate economic revitalization in the state while helping to reduce post-harvest losses, improve crop yields, and enhance value addition.
The establishment of this agro-industrial estate, it's going to generate employment opportunities across multiple agricultural sectors, in processing, in logistics, in warehousing, transportation, equipment maintenance, and in administration. So thousands of our youth will gain meaningful employment, also why our local businesses will benefit from expanded supply chains.
Team lead of Benue Agro, Henry Erumodafe, reaffirmed the company's commitment to the project, disclosing an investment of $530 million, equivalent to about 600 billion naira, for the development of the integrated agro-industrial estate. According to him, the project is designed to expand processing capacity, strengthening agricultural value chains, and position Benue's agricultural produce for international markets.
Once our project is underway, it's not only going to be an export-driven initiative, we also want to make sure there's plenty of food, not just in Benue, but in Nigeria. So food security is a key aspect of what we are doing. Not to mention export competitiveness, we're going to be investing heavily in some cash crops, which will ultimately also lead to a stronger IGRO for the state. So the more dollars we can bring into the economy of Benue, the more it's going to benefit also the people of Benue State.
The project is expected to commence within the next 60 to 90 days with the inauguration of the steering and technical committees. At the government house in Makurdi, Felicity Indere reporting for Global Television News.
Let's bring you back to Abuja now, where the trial of embattled Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari continued at the Federal High Court, with dramatic revelations emerging from a video played in open court. Global Television's Ubang Usoro reports.
Two convicted drug traffickers told the court how they allegedly received assistance from the officers of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agencies to bypass security checks at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport in Enugu. The video, admitted as evidence, showed the traffickers Chibunna Umeibe and Emeka Eweze narrating how their photographs were sent ahead of contacts believed to be NDLEA officials to ease their passage through the airport. They claimed that although their luggage was checked, it was not thoroughly searched. The traffickers, who have already served their jail terms, admitted to importing cocaine into Nigeria from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and delivering the drugs to contacts in Lagos.
Today the court sat. We tendered the recorded evidence, the document from the police regarding the interview that was conducted by the police after the arrest of the already convicted defendants. That is the 6th and 7th defendant already convicted. So we tendered their CD today for possible cross-examination.
Speaking to journalists after the proceedings, counsel to the NDLEA maintained that the prosecution remains confident in its case and will continue to present evidence before the court. Also speaking, Secretary of the Center for Democracy and Development said the case highlights the urgent need for transparency and accountability within Nigeria's security agencies.
We want to thank His Lordship for agreeing to a very vital evidence that was admitted His Lordship has agreed to be admitted of the drug traffickers that the IRT had arrested themselves at the car park after they had confessed on tape that they were the ones conniving with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and that this was the fourth time that they were coming into Nigeria smuggling drugs. It was the IRT led by Abba Kyari that arrested these criminals at the car park of the airport after they had exited the lounge.
Justice Emeka Nwite has adjourned the case to April 20th and 21st for continuation of trial. The cocaine case is separate from an earlier assets declaration trial in which Abba Kyari was discharged earlier this month. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
Human rights activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore has again appeared before the Federal High Court in Abuja over a case instituted by the Department of State Services, DSS. Again, Ubong Usoro was at the court's hearing and filed this report.
Omoyele Sowore is facing trial over statements he made concerning President Bola Tinubu, described the prosecution as baseless and politically motivated. Speaking after proceedings, Sowore accused the DSS legal team of attempting to intimidate him through what he termed unnecessary applications, including moves to revoke his bail and seize his personal devices.
It's a waste of our time. And I also let you know that we have very serious political business. I'm going to be running in the next election, and we need time to go around the country to monitor our own internal party affairs. And although we agreed, he was under a lot of pressure. Like I have always said, I need judges in this court, and some I have disagreements. I have respect for.
Meanwhile, Showere's counsel, Marshal Abubakar, expressed confidence in the judicial process, noting that the prosecution case had weakened significantly following the cross-examination of its sole witness. It described the testimony presented in court as inconsistent and lacking credibility, adding that the defense remains optimistic about the outcome of the case. In a related development, the National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, Rex Elano, has criticized the ongoing trial, describing it as a distraction. He stated that Sowore, who serves as the party's national chairman, should be allowed to focus on his political ambitions and contribution to democratic development. The court adjourned the proceedings briefly before reconvening later in the day, during which the prosecution formally closed its case after presenting only one witness. Proceedings have now been adjourned to April 13, 2026 for continuation of the trial. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
The trial of former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, has continued at the Federal High Court with fresh revelations from prosecution witnesses. Malami, alongside his wife, Asabe Bashir, and his son, Abdulaziz Malami, is facing trial over allegations of financial misconduct involving billions of naira. Global Television Ubong Usoro was there for us.
The proceedings took place at the Federal High Court in Abuja. A compliance officer with Union Bank of Nigeria told the court that multiple transactions were traced to the account of Matip Hotels Limited. The witness revealed that millions of naira were transferred from the company's account to Malami and a firm identified as AA Malami & Co. at different times in 2024. He also identified Malami's wife as the sole signatory to the hotel's account based on documents presented before the court. Further testimony detailed several cash inflows into the account, including deposits running into tens of millions of naira from various sources between 2022 and 2023. Olumote Egoro, another prosecution witness, a compliance officer with Access Bank PLC, also presented documents related to accounts linked to Malami's son. The court heard that a loan facility of 400 million naira was granted to one of the companies linked to Malami's son and later fully repaired. The witness also outlined multiple inflows into accounts connected to organizations allegedly linked to the family, though he admitted he could not determine the purpose of the transactions. Counsel to the defense did not object to the admissibility of most of the documents, but reserved the right to address the issue at the final stage of trial. After hearing from the witnesses and admitting several documents as evidence, the presiding judge, Joyce Abdulmalik, adjourned the case to April 20th, 2026 for continuation of trial. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
Let's move on to other stories tonight. The federal government says ongoing reforms under the administration of President Bola Tinubu are aimed at strengthening national development and repositioning Nigeria for sustainable growth. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, made this known at the inauguration of the Media and Publicity Subcommittee for the 2026 APC National Convention in Abuja. Sadia Yakubu has details.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says the upcoming National Convention of the All Progressives Congress represents a major milestone in the life of the ruling party. Speaking during the inauguration of the Media and Publicity Subcommittee for the 2026 APC National Convention in Abuja, the minister noted that the convention will further strengthen internal democracy within the party and consolidate its vision for a united, progressive, and prosperous Nigeria. The minister described the task assigned to the committee as strategic, stressing that effective communication will play a crucial role in the success of the convention.
We are all members of the APC, and whatever we do is designed to ensure the success of the convention that is coming up in a few days from now. So I want to urge members of the committee to please work diligently, work to ensure there's a hitch-free and a successful convention when it comes up.
Idris added that the committee's role goes beyond publicity, as it also involves ensuring accurate dissemination of information, coordinating media engagement, promoting transparency, and projecting the activities and outcomes of the convention to Nigerians and the international community. He urged members of the committee to approach the assignment with professionalism, creativity, and a strong sense of responsibility, while leveraging various media platforms to ensure wide and positive coverage of the event.
As you all know, the Media and Publicity Committee is an important component of the convention. Indeed, the success or otherwise of the convention lies heavily on how prepared and how much we work towards making sure that this has happened. So I want to thank all of you for coming. I know that many people have traveled. The chairman of the committee himself has asked me to continue with the processes. He is actually away in Saudi Arabia. His Excellency Maimala Boni, the governor of Yobe State.
The inauguration of the Media and Publicity Subcommittee is expected to strengthen strategic communication ahead of the 2026 APC National Convention, as the party intensifies preparations for what leaders described as a defining moment in consolidating unity and advancing its political vision. Sadia Yakubu for Global Television News.
Independent Hajj Reporters, a faith-based civil society organization, has advised the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria to establish a special Hajj calendar harmonization committee and commence early registration for the 2027 Hajj. The group made the call in a statement signed by its national coordinator, Ibrahim Muhammad, and made available to journalists. Mohammed stated that recurring operational challenges in Nigeria's Hajj preparations are largely due to late pilgrim registration and delays in implementing pre-Hajj timelines. This is Global Television, and tonight you're watching the broadcast of News Prime. The rest of the news continues after these weather forecasts, plus business, foreign and sports stories for you. On the other side of this break, please do stay with us.
Hello and welcome to the weather forecast for Wednesday, morning thunderstorm is expected in parts of Cross River, Akwa Ibom, and Rivers states. Other parts of the south and north central will experience a mostly cloudy to partly cloudy morning. But as the day progresses, weather indices indicates good moisture influx as well as convective available potential energy will give rise to development of thunderstorms in most parts of the south, southwest, southeastern states, to include places in the north central. This includes parts of Kogi, Kwara, Benue, Nasarawa, the Federal Capital Territory, Plateau, and Taraba states. Overall, the afternoon hours holds good prospects for thunderstorms, so stay weather ready. That's all for the forecast. I am Theodora Itum. Thank you for watching.
Thank you so very much for staying with us here on the news. The second part of this broadcast returns with business, where President Bola Tinubu has promised to review tariffs imposed on newsprint, broadcast equipment, and other materials used by media organizations as part of efforts to ease the financial burden on the Nigerian media. The president made the commitment while receiving a delegation of the Nigerian Press Organization led by its president, Maiden Alex Ibru. Tinubu promised support to the Nigerian media to challenge what they described as big tech dominance and anti-competitive activities in the media space. The Senate has cleared former lawmaker representing Rivers Southeast Senatorial District, Magnus Abe, for appointment as chairman of the board of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. Abe, a political ally of Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, was screened by the Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources Upstream before receiving the approval of lawmakers. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick was there for Global Television.
The committee, chaired by Senator Eteng Williams, who represents Cross River Central Senatorial District, screened nominees forwarded by the President Bola Tinubu for appointment as chairman and non-executive commissioners of the commission. In line with the Senate's tradition for former lawmakers appearing for confirmation, Abe was asked to take a bow and go, having served 2 terms in the National Assembly.
They are industry players, 3 of them. The 3 of them. We've not seen anybody that has not worked even in NUPRC, then DPR. So they have good knowledge. For us, they are regulators. They are going to regulate us well in the industry. I feel so, if confirmed. Because you will hear from us, the Senate, in our next meeting. I won't give verdict here because...
Speaking with journalists after his appearance before the committee, Senator Magnus Abe said the surge in global oil prices triggered by tensions involving Iran and the United States presents both challenges and opportunities for Nigeria. According to him, while the conflict has pushed up the cost of fuel and created hardship for Nigerians, the increase in oil prices could also translate into higher national revenues. Abe called for global prayers for an end to the conflict, noting that beyond the economic implications, the crisis was claiming human lives.
This is a very, very difficult time for the entire planet. It's not a Nigerian challenge, it's a global challenge. And I believe that Nigeria is in a far better position to ride out this storm than a lot of other countries. Because you must look at the balancing act. Prices will definitely be affected, but revenues from our oil sales will also be positively affected. So I believe that there will be some measure of balance in what will happen.
The 2023 governorship candidate of the Social Democratic Party, however, urged Nigerians to see the situation as an opportunity to strengthen the country's energy sector, particularly in gas development and marginal oil field investments. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
We appreciate your reporting tonight, Aniti. On the foreign scene, Nigeria and the United Kingdom are set to receive President Tinubu and First Lady Oluremi Tinubu for a significant visit to the UK. The trip includes a royal reception at Windsor Castle, hosted by King Charles III and Queen Camilla. Edika Michael Hasmo.
In London, President Tinubu is set to meet with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer to enhance collaboration on trade, investment, defense, and cultural connections. Key agreements are expected, including a substantial £746 million financing package to upgrade Lagos business port. The president will also engage with groups promoting interfaith dialogue and attend an event showcasing Nigerian art, business, and diaspora relations. According to Prince Bidemi Akintoday, Director, United Kingdom of Diaspora City Boy Movement, this visit marks a crucial step in reinforcing ties between Nigeria and the UK, recalling the last state visit in 1989.
And what this means for Nigeria is that this will definitely strengthen the relationship between the United Kingdom and Nigeria, which will definitely further boost our economy, so, and in that area, and I'm really glad it will open more doors, for businesses, including large-scale businesses, small-scale businesses. So there's so many areas that we're going to have investors from the United Kingdom, more investors from the United Kingdom into Nigeria, and there will be a lot of collaborations now, which will definitely strengthen our economy and for a prosperous Nigeria, and that's exactly what the president is doing. So, and I'm happy that the whole world is saying.
This visit not only underscores the deep-rooted connections between Nigeria and the UK, but also sets the stage for enhanced cooperation and mutual growth in the years ahead. President Tinubu is scheduled to return to Nigeria at the visit's end. Edika Michael reporting from London for Global TV News.
This has called for a swift and independent investigation after the Afghan government said a Pakistani strike on the Kabul drug rehabilitation clinic killed hundreds of people. The government said the strike that killed about 400 people was the deadliest attack in the recent violence between Afghanistan and Pakistan.
UN Rights Office spokesman Thamin Al-Kitan told reporters in Geneva, Switzerland, that witnesses described a scene of total destruction at the hospital site and seen hundreds of people looking for their relatives. He called for those responsible to be held to account in line with international standards, insisting that the results of any investigation be made public.
Under international humanitarian law, civilians and civilian objects are strictly protected. The laws of war clearly spell out that any attack must comply with the fundamental principles of distinction, proportionality, and precautions. International humanitarian law provides for specific and increased protections for medical facilities. Since the hostilities between Pakistan and Afghanistan escalated at the end of last month, 289 Afghan civilians, including 104 children and 59 women, have been killed or injured.
Hundreds were said to have been wounded at the facility, flattening buildings used to treat people from across the country for addictions to marijuana, amphetamine, and other narcotics. There was no immediate independent verification of the toll, but reporters saw at least 30 bodies taken from the site and more than 65 removed. The Taliban government has accused Pakistan of deliberately targeting civilians, something it flatly denies.
And that's News Prime for you tonight. My team and I are grateful to you for watching. I'm Uyi Agmofwegwe. Bye-bye.